I want to welcome Mr. Jeff Younger.
Well, it's very simple. My son, starting at 2 years old, was taught that he was a girl by his mother and pushed into social transition. He was talked into being transgender by his mother. She did this after my son chose a girl's toy in a Happy Meal, and that's in sworn court testimony, and she began to socially transition him after that. You know, kids can be deceived on these serious matters. They can make mistakes about who they are or what they want to be, especially at young ages. James only presents as a girl when he's with his mom. When he's with me, he presents as a boy. Nevertheless, the courts gave her sole control over psychological and medical decision-making, and that allowed her to push him into the medical side of transition. After one appointment, one-hour appointment with a pediatrician and a psychologist, my son was referred to a gender clinic to, quote, and this is in the medical records, explore the medical side of treatments. What is the medical side of treatment? It's chemical castration by puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones starting at age 8. It permanently sterilizes the child, and it causes a myriad of health problems. Of the children that go on to this protocol, almost all of them go on to surgical transition. So they were looking to put my son onto a path to surgical transition as early as age 8. I fought a long battle in court, a very expensive battle, and I was able to get half decision-making for medical and psychological, and that allowed me to stop him. I narrowly stopped him in December of last year from being chemically castrated in a gender clinic. At that transgender clinic in Dallas, the Genesis Clinic, they've referred over 200 total mastectomies of girls, surgeries of girls, total mastectomies. Over 100 castrations of boys. It's a big problem. It's not just my son, and I always remind myself of that. It's about thousands of children, not just James. I want you to consider that it's illegal in Texas for children to get tattoos. It's illegal for children to smoke. It's illegal for parents to give children cigarettes to smoke. But we're allowing children to make irreversible decisions about their biology, about removing healthy sexual organs. And I want to tell you just how far off some in the psychological community have gone. We asked an expert witness at trial how she could medically justify removing healthy body parts from a child. And she said, well, if they're causing psychological distress, they're not healthy body parts, and we can remove them. And that's the principle by which these psychologists are acting. But it went much further than that. For most of my son's life, I have been unable to teach him that he's a boy. I have been unable to use male pronouns. I have been unable to present him as a boy to third parties. And I have been unable to teach him traditional Christian doctrine on sexuality and gender. Courts are actually doing that to parents. I'm not saying that the government knows better than doctors. I'm just saying when it comes to irreversible treatments, treatments that you can never go back on, we should delay doing these drastic procedures until children can make informed decisions when they're 18. We have to have a law, not because we want to interfere in family decisions or in personal decisions, but because it's very clear that schools, government agencies, and courts, and the Psychological Board of Examiners are not going to do the right thing here. Let me give you an example. My son is still, even though I have a court order today that says my son is a boy by gender, a male by sex, and his legal name is James Damon Younger, the Capel Independent School District continues to call him by a girl's name, continues to use female pronouns, allow him to use the female bathroom, and still teaches him that a girl. When I took him to school as a boy, the teacher gave him a dress to wear. The schools and the government agencies and the family courts especially need legislative guidance, and we need Steve Toth's bill, HB 98. Thank you. 68, sorry.